welcome to the second edition of the Manoeuvres podcast, a podcast produced on behalf of the London branch of the Carlisle United Supporters Club to coincide with games that have been played down south, hopefully to encourage more people to come along, but let's see if that actually happens. The first one was for Sutton, which is a long time ago, shirt sleeve weather and what have you. We've not been able to do one since then, partly because I was spending 3 weeks travelling around, and my co-conspirator, who does all the stuff in the background, he got married. So we've not been able to do one for the last couple of months, but we've got this one. We've got one planned for Boreham Wood, so we will be producing one every month from here on in. So I said it was very occasional, but hopefully it'll be less occasional in the near future. But we've got an absolutely fantastic lineup today. We've got 3 or 4 articles for you. Hopefully you'll find them interesting. I'm in a discussion with Josh, who's a lifelong Boston fan, about Boston's how they've been travelling this season and how he thinks the game's going to go on Saturday. We have the music from the Omelette Project. If you've not come across this, you really need to. It's a collective of Carlisle musicians who've come up with a song called Dreaming Blue, and it's about Carlisle United. And I think I'm a rock and metal fan, so it takes an awful lot for me to say a song like this is good, but it really is very good. Give it a listen. I really think that Carlisle United should think about adopting this song in some way. Wouldn't it be great? I wouldn't advocate changing Thunderstruck as the tune being played as the teams come out, but I would love to think that the song before that, where everybody is waiting in anticipation and we're all dreaming in blue, we're all dreaming and hoping for the game, and there's a chorus that could actually be worked into a terrace chorus. I think the club should really look at it, and Muzz has agreed, and he's one of the collaborators. He's agreed for the next On Manoeuvres podcast for the Boreham Wood game just before Christmas. We're going to be speaking to him about the work he's done. We've also got a quiz between, again, Josh, who's a Boston fan, who's answering questions about Carlisle United, does fine, and the Cumbrian dialect, not so fine. And we've got Rob, who's doing the reverse. He's answering questions about Boston United, and he's also answering questions, rather unsuccessfully, about the Boston Lincolnshire dialect. And finally, we have, I'm actually honoured, we got an interview. We were fortunate to have a little cameo by Tim Vine, the comedian, before on our Sutton edition. This time we've actually managed to get Sir Jonathan Van-Tam, MBE, who was the Deputy Chief Medical Officer of English Health for a number of years. He's one of the leading virologists, epidemiologists, etc., and he's the guy who you would have seen on your TV screen during COVID. He was the one making a lot of the announcements at 6 o'clock, and we spoke to him for about 25 minutes, half an hour. He's a mad keen Boston fan, Boston United fan. He was born in the town. He was raised in the town. He went to university close to the town. Now he's moved back into the area, or maybe he never left it, I don't know, but he's still in the area. And his love for the club just like shone through. So really well worth listening to that. So anyway, that's enough from me, because I'm the last person you probably want to hear from. So let's go. I hope you enjoy. If you don't, just leave comments. And if you want to contribute to this in future, again, just leave some comments and we will get back to you, or contact the London branch. Happy to have you. If you want to take part in one of the future quizzes or something like that, or you want to take part in, it's been me discussing with visiting fans, with the opposition fans, I'm happy just to sit back and let somebody else do that. So if you want to have a debate with, a Boreham Wood fan about the game and about how Carlisle have been doing, just get in touch. Just like to spread this out. I mean, I don't want to see my ugly face on this screen. I want to see other people doing stuff. But anyway, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy. Now, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, so I'm Josh Butler, Boston United fan. Live in Birmingham, to be honest, at the minute, and have done for the last 10 years. Season ticket holder. Get to as many games as I can, with the exception of like a few midweek games, because I sort of rely on buses and trains to get to all the games.
Right,
so
yeah.
Tricky, but at least now you've got the streams, haven't we? So I'm usually sort of able to watch.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're obviously new to DAZN. I mean, some of the commentary leaves a bit to be desired, but it's good that you can get to watch your club when you normally wouldn't have done. Because living in Birmingham, you've got Did you get Tamworth away in today's FA Trophy?
Yeah, second time in 3 years.
Is it? Oh, okay. Because I saw you beat them a few weeks ago, didn't you? I think 2-3 weeks ago you beat them 3-1.
Yeah,
you were at that game, were you?
Yeah, well, it's a nice easy one for me, but considering we got battered there last year,
all right, yeah,
we thought we struggled against the physical threat, but actually we played it really well.
Okay. You've had, I mean, I was looking at your results earlier. You've had a pretty mixed bunch of results. You've had some good results, albeit draws, but against Southend, Forest Green, and Scunthorpe. So those are 3 teams in the top 6 or 7, and yet and you've had a couple of good wins at say Tamworth and Gateshead, but then you get absolutely gubbed 4-0 at home by Morecambe. And you got a reasonable result against Woking on Saturday, but you seem to be a little bit up and down.
Yeah, it's been a really sort of mixed bag, not just in results and performances, but just with availability. We can't seem to go one game to the next and be able to field a consistent team. I know every team gets injuries over the course of a season, but we seem to be particularly affected. And I think because our strength in depth isn't particularly good, it shows when we've got a couple of players missing, when we can't seem to replace them with the same quality. And that's why, like the Morecambe game, we had about 5 or 6 injuries. 2 of our 2 main centre backs out. One of our midfielders out as well from the week before. As soon as that team sheet come out, I thought, oh, we're going to be struggling, and then we got absolutely demolished. So, and then, but I think if we get everyone back, which we haven't had very often, we look a fairly solid side. As some of the performances have shown.
Yeah, and also I was looking, I think you got 21, 22 points, and I think Aldershot are third bottom with 13, and then the next club's got 16. So you're not quite, at least it's 16th or 17th. You're not quite in the mire. So there must be a lot of optimism there that you're gonna, because you've had a few tough years, haven't you, as a club? Dropping out of the league and then dropping down divisions, and then spending a few years down in was it in the north?
National North,
National League
14
North.
years in the end.
14 was it?
Yeah, 14 years, 17 years in regional football since we fell out of League Two. So we got demoted straight through the conference. They wouldn't take us, so we got put into National North and then demoted again, and then nearly relegated on merit after that. But then it picked up, and we just stalled in the National North. It's a similar sort of bottleneck, isn't it, to the top end of the National League? You're trying to get out, but there just always seems to be those 2 or 3 teams that spend that little bit more, or they're just a bit more consistent.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're obviously hopeful we're going to go straight back up like we did the last time we dropped down, but there's absolutely no guarantee. There's clubs like York and Rochdale are pretty strong.
The profile of the league's changed a bit, hasn't it, since then?
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Very much so. Yeah. But you seem to have, I was speaking to somebody earlier, you seem to have some sensible owners. Is it a bunch of builders or building company? Or
Yeah,
and they
David
seem to
Newman came in.
have the right um, ethos about your club.
Yeah, he came in and practically saved the club in 2007, and sort of steadied the ship. He's tried to rebuild the club's reputation because Steve Evans did quite a lot of damage to it, and yeah, we're obviously conscious about getting into such a state again. So he has tended to be fairly cautious with the budget, even sort of the new stadium. It's sort of built to minimum standards.
Right.
If we were to go up again, but yeah, it's very cautious. I mean, yeah, he does seem to have the interest of the club at heart, and he doesn't want. He wants to leave it in a place where someone could take over and maybe take it to that next step. It has caused a bit of frustration with the fans over the years that if we could just push the boat out a little bit more. But then it's the sort of thing, isn't it, where you start doing that and it just gets more and more to the point where you can't sustain it.
Yeah, exactly. The snowball just gets moving. I think Carlisle have been on that track for once or twice in the past, and unless you achieve what it is you set out to achieve straight away, it's just complete and utter drain. I mean, we're fortunate at the moment in that we have some very benevolent American owners, and I know probably similar if a building company take over your club, you're worrying about they're going to boot you out of the ground, like happened to Maidstone and Dartford many years ago. Sorry, excuse me. American owners, you can take them but one or two ways, but we're fortunate in the Piatics, Jacksonville in Florida. They've come in and they put the money where their mouth is. They've completely revamped the stadium. Were you up at Carlisle for the FA Cup tie earlier in the season?
It was my first visit. I'd popped by the ground actually the year before, just on the way home from holiday. I seemed to end up with like an hour changeover at Carlisle, so I thought I'd pop in and see the ground. Not expecting Boston to play there anytime soon. And then here we are.
I'll be honest. I don't think any of us Carlisle fans expected to be playing Boston unless Boston were promoted. No. But now, funny thing, football, isn't it? But yeah, so they put a lot of money into the stand, into the ground. They're building us. The first phase of it is up and running now. You have new training facilities in the centre of town by the castle. So they are actually putting their money where their mouth is, which is not what you always get. But of course, that FA Cup game, I mean, do you think you can glean anything into what's going to happen on Saturday by what happened 3 weeks ago?
Well, if we defend what we did in the first 15 minutes and you stick Linney on as well, it's going to be quite for us.
Well, we also had Con Clark. It was his debut as well.
Yeah.
And he was just buzzing that day. I didn't go up for the Eastleigh game. I guess like a lot of London-based fans, we travel around a lot down the south, and you try to get up north as often as possible. But I've not won the lottery, so I can't get up to every home game. But I did see it on DAZN, and Con Clark had quite a quiet day. But on the day that we played you in the cup, he was right on it that day. I think he was really pleased to get the deal done. And of course, his best mate, his best mucker, is Regan Linney. So Regan Linney was also on fire that day as well.
Yeah, he didn't play against us in the cup, but I know. Yeah. I know you. I think you seem to make one or two changes for that. I mean, at the time, that was about the strongest 11 we could have fielded. To be fair, all right, there was one or two injuries, I think, but no. Apart from, I think there's only really Rochdale that looks similarly, sort of had that similar attacking threat. Rochdale beat 3-1.
They put 3-1 was it 3-1 or something against Rochdale?
3-1. I mean, it could have been anything, to be honest. Either way, to be fair, I didn't think they were overly brilliant at the back. In a similar way that in that cup tie, we had our chances to get back at 3-3 and then pulled it off a bit later on. But especially if we're going to be missing Zach Mills as well through injury, you go into the sort of game with trepidation, and you sort of think, well, you just hope they have a bit of an off day in front of goal. But having had that 1-1 draw the other day, you lightning twice. You think, if anything, they'd probably be even more switched on at our place. So
possibly, but we're doing all right at the moment. We do have a number of long-term injuries, but I think one of the advantages of advantage or disadvantage. I mean, fortunately, our owners seem to have reasonably deep pockets, so we ended up sort of in League One when they took us over, and then League Two last year. I think the salaries that were given a lot of the players were pretty good. Obviously, we were still relegated successive seasons, but the suggestion is, and there's probably a lot of truth in it, that some of the players are just so happy with the money they're getting, they're putting that above maybe moving on elsewhere, or clubs can't afford to take them or match the salaries that they're on. So that's a little bit of a negative for us, because they were looking to move some players on before signing players. But I think the advantage is it's given us a really strong squad. So we do have players like Elliot Embleton and Jordan Jones and what have you, and not Charlie Wyke as well, who's due to get back to fitness towards in the start of the new year. So we've got some real class players that can come back from injury. It's almost a mishap that it's happened, in my opinion. So we're doing quite well in that respect, which is what I think we'll do over the winter. I think we've probably got a deeper squad than a lot of even one or two of the clubs at the top. So, reasonably hopeful that we can maintain the challenge between now and the end of the season. But as we've seen from Carlisle in the last 2 years, it doesn't always work out how you want it to work out. Weird old game.
No, I think we've got to be fairly realistic with what we've got. I think the manager's he couldn't land a number of his targets in the summer, and I think he's gone down the route of, well, if I can get a strong 11 out, and it seems like the rest of it is a bit of an afterthought. Of course, you're only a couple of injuries away from having to field some of these under 23s who are pretty inexperienced, and and it certainly shows on the pitch. But we've got to be real with where we are. We don't get particularly big crowds. We've not got a mystery backer pumping in loads of money.
So what sort of crowds do you get?
We're in that gaggle with quite a few teams down there in that bottom sort of half of the table.
By the look of it, I think you're far enough away. I mean, I don't think there's any harm in sort of. You've just kind of got back in that division in the last year or two, haven't you? So, build from there basically. When we got promoted to League One 2 years ago, it probably happened too quick for us. That sounds weird. The club wasn't in any way prepared for the move up. We moved up and we got battered week in, week out. So maybe sometimes taking the slower road helps, but football fans don't always want that, do we?
Oh no, everyone wants success, and we had the same when we came up. We'd only finished 6th in the National North the year before. On the last day of the season, got into the playoffs, and we won 2 penalty shootouts, and then beat Brackley in the final. Historically, a team that has an even worse playoff record than us. And then until sort of January, it really did show we were still sort of hybrid, semi-part time.
Not. Are all your guys full time, or is it still a mix?
We are now. We've gone full time now, which probably didn't help us in retaining a few of our better players at the back end of last year. I still think we're sort of trying to make the best of that situation.
Right. Yeah.
The way we finished last season was so freakishly good. I think naturally it just raises expectations in that we'll keep these players and we'll have a good season. But most of us would have been content with just not having to worry about going down after what happened last year. If we get a bit of a cup run going in one of the competitions, then that's a bit of a bonus. But I'm not sure we'll get past Tamworth, to be honest, but you never know.
Have you guys still got, I think he was there 2 or 3 years ago, Carl Hawley?
He's not there anymore, but he came in as a player. He came in as a player about 7 or 8 years ago when we were sort of struggling
Yeah,
towards the bottom end of the National North. And I mean, he did a sort of decent enough job in a pretty average team. I think he then became one of the joint managers just
yeah,
briefly when the manager got the chop. Sort of steadied the ship a little bit.
yeah.
But
He
yeah,
was an absolute legend, a legend with us.
well,
I think
well, I
he
was
scored
unfortunately
30.
there. I was there that night that him and Bridges scored 5 between them, or whatever it was, when he beat us
Yes, it
5-0
was. Yeah, hat trick, and
on a Tuesday
yeah,
night.
yeah, 5 now. Because oh yeah, I was looking at the results. I think we've only played one another, each other. I think
2 or 3 seasons, maybe.
it was the seventh. I think the seventh time was the FA Cup game.
Right.
So yeah, so we. I think we've stuck 5-5, 4-4 in the
Yeah,
game.
I think
So
we've lost
we
every
do.
game. I think we've lost every game up there, and I
You,
think we
you,
snapped a win or maybe a couple of wins at home, but
I think
we
you
sort
won one. I think 1-0, and the second game was 0-0. So
yeah.
yeah, well, I wasn't at either of those games. I don't know. You know, obviously, I missed York Street. I mean, do you miss your old ground?
Oh, massively. You know,
Yeah,
it's like bang in the centre of town. That you're really close to the pitch. You can actually see the game as the
yeah,
Carlisle fans might find to their cost in the away end on Saturday. Um, I mean, we all get the reasons why we had to move, and because
yeah,
we were paying a fortune renting it. You know, it's crippling cost really for a team in the National North.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We can make money all sorts all days of the week now. And to be fair, the main stand is spot on. It's just the rest of it was a bit of an afterthought, and it shows.
yeah.
I mean, we still haven't built the away end yet, and even that they've had to change the plans and put some seats in because they didn't design the stadium properly.
Oh,
It,
right,
it was
okay.
it was built to minimum sort of standards, like 2,000
Yeah,
seats and just enough terracing to get in the EFL, but. Which okay, it's not a massive issue for us in that we're not going to fill it very often, but the actual experience you get there is pretty poor. A lot of us would, given the choice, go back to York Street.
yeah. There's something about the traditional. I mean, traditional grounds. I mean, I know visiting supporters. You said you'd been to Brunton Park earlier in the year. I mean, I personally think it's a great stadium.
Oh, it's
It's just what
fantastic.
you want.
I
Just
mean,
what you want.
whether I look forward to being in the away end in March on the open end, I'm not sure. It was quite nice up in that little chocolate box in the corner.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of Carlisle fans were not happy about the visiting fans being moved um, to the petrol and the Waterworks. They weren't happy about that. They just thought it was a little bit um, condescending towards visiting fans. But so far, I don't think anybody's been rained upon. That said, Carlisle United, our paddock in front of the main grandstand where the tunnel end is, you get wet there. So Carlisle
Yeah,
fans get wet. So it's not as if we're all undercover all the time. But yeah, I mean, the idea was to have the whole of the East stand basically. For home fans, you know, barring the weird bit at the end that
yeah,
overhangs the pitch by 10, 20 yards. That's a legacy from when we were owned by
yeah,
Michael Knighton. I don't know if you might be too
yeah.
young to know of Michael Knighton,
Well,
maybe.
he was in charge when Jimmy Glass did his thing.
Uh,
I think
yeah,
that's
it was one of
what
Knighton's
didn't it?
last. Yeah, damn, that was one of my quiz questions. You've already answered it.
Okay. I was going to say, you probably ask any
Brilliant.
news about Carlisle, and the first thing is probably Jimmy Glass, isn't it?
It is, you know, it made news all over the world. Uh, Front of newspapers in India and New Zealand and all sorts. It was really surreal. Uh, and he's a lovely fella because I think he's down in if I'm correct, Bournemouth,
I think he was
Portsmouth,
at
South
Bournemouth for a
Coast
bit of the hour,
area
wasn't he?
somewhere.
Yeah.
And we have. He's come along to a couple of sort of functions that the London branch have had, and he is a regular visitor up to Brunton Park, I understand. And there's even a bar named after him. I mean, I mean, you couldn't not. I mean, but the sad thing is, from the club's perspective, is it was just delaying the inevitable, really, because 2 or 3 years, 4 years later, I think we were down anyway. So it was a pretty grim period of Carlisle's history.
I seem to remember when I used to watch the old Soccer Saturdays and that, it just seemed Carlisle were bottom of Division 3 pretty much all that time around the late 90s, early 90s.
Well, I actually worked out we were last in Tier 3, whatever it was called at the time. I think probably Division 3 at the time. I think we came down in about 1988 to the lowest tier, and in something like the 34th. Well, actually, since promotion and relegation started between the National League and the Football League, Carlisle have finished in the bottom 5 a dozen times in the Football League, which is more often than any other club. So we've had a pretty, and I'm of an age, I'm over 60. I saw my first game in 1968, and we were Division 2, and then we were in Division 1 for one season. So my youth, we were one of the leading sort of 25 clubs in the country, 30 clubs in the country. And now, God, we're not even in the Football League any longer, which is...
no one's place is safe anymore, is it? No, even more so if they get this 3 up.
Yeah, but I understand. I mean, obviously, all the games kicked off at 3 minutes past 3 minutes past 3. I can understand why the Football League might be reluctant to do it at the moment, because obviously there are no financial constraints really in the National League, and there's not even a transfer
No, not really. No.
Transfer ban. So with transfer windows, so until I think the National League becomes more in line with the Football League, I can't see it happening. But I think they will do. I think the clamour from the clubs will be, if they've got any sense, the clubs will say, yeah, we need to come into line, because I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any. It's a little bit embarrassing coming down to with apologies to all the other clubs. It's not something you want to do, but it's, as you've seen from the likes of Stockport and Wrexham and Luton even, if you can make that jump back up, it can be a good launch pad for the next.
It's kind of strange nowadays, because you look at most of the teams that get relegated. If anything, the crowds go up. Now, I don't know, is that partly because they're sort of the big fish in a relatively smaller pond when you get relegated, or it's a chance to just clear the decks and go back to basics and sort of reignite the community.
We got nearly 11,000 against Eastleigh. You got 10,800, and I think one of the things is that after a year or two of struggling, I think if you actually start winning games, I mean, to an extent, I don't think fans of every club want to be in as high a level as possible.
Yeah.
But you also want to see your club winning.
Yeah.
So even if you've dropped down a level and you're winning every other game or 2 games out of every 3, and you're challenging and you're the right side of the table, I think that encourages people to come back. And I think that's what's happening with us at the moment. Our crowds have held up really well over the last few years, but they're probably higher now than they were when we were in League 1 2 years ago, which go figure, as the Americans say.
Yes, it's certainly quite noticeable. A lot of clubs, even like the Stockport and Scunthorpe, who went all the way down to National North.
I mean, I think back sort of 2.5 years, and we defeated Bradford City in the semi-finals of the playoffs, League 2 playoffs, and then we beat Stockport at Wembley. And 2 years later, we were in the National League, and they're both in. I think they're both in League 1, aren't they? I think they're both in League 1. Then. Yeah. So how quickly things turn around.
Yeah, quickly changes.
Yeah. So, have you got? Do you want to make a prediction about Saturday?
I was actually thinking about it on the way home. Actually, I can possibly see us scoring, but I just can't see us keeping them boys up top quite. So I think 3-1, and I think we probably get away with it if that happens. So I'll probably go 3-1 Carlisle.
Yeah, because
obviously hoping for an off day and we nick a 1-0 or something, or 2-1. But
yeah. I was actually leaning towards one apiece.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. A couple of times we've had we've had a wobble. It's tended to be for a couple of games. So I'm going to get murdered for this by everybody else, but I'm probably going to go for one apiece on this one. But yeah, hopefully we get the win. But yeah, I'll say one apiece.
Yeah, well, I'll
Right.
definitely take
Thank you very much, John.
back of our last few results. So, any sort
Yeah,
of
I'm rubbish at
anyway.
rubbish at predicting. I think I get too emotional about it sometimes. If I gambled, I think I'd be putting 100 quid on a game. Thank God I don't.
Oh no, well, betting against Boston's had its perks in the last season or two at times, but
yeah. Do you have a fan zone at your ground?
Sorry,
A fan zone?
No, there is a bar, but for anyone that's
Right.
coming along, I'd recommend you've got to get in pretty early. It's not really big enough. The price is a little bit expensive as well. You might just be better off with the can bar in the away end, to be fair.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, what we usually do in the London branch is somebody else organises the pub, and we end up going there because we kind of do ticket distribution and what have you. Somebody's there with the tickets for the London branch members, but we'll yeah, and it's usually a real ale pub of some description. I hope.
Yeah, if you're looking for a real ale pub, your best bet's the Eagle near the railway station. Not the biggest pub either. There's a couple of rooms and a bit of an outdoor space, but it's comfortably the best for the beer. So.
Oh, well, that's probably that. Well, I suspect that's where we'll be going then. I suspect that where it's been organised. Right, brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Josh. I hope you enjoyed the game. We both obviously can't get the results that we want, but let's as long as it's a decent game of football, and it's to be honest. We found the quality of the referees hasn't been particularly good, but I think our
manager's talked himself into trouble a few times. We've been on the end of a few decisions, we feel, but sometimes you got to be up the opposition end to get these decisions sometimes. So
yeah, but hopefully it's a decent game. Brilliant. Thank you very much for your contribution. 3-minute conversation is Sir Jonathan Van-Tam, MBE, who is a leading specialist in influenza epidemiology, vaccinology, and pandemic preparedness. Thank you, Wikipedia, for that. And you were the former Deputy Chief Medical Officer for England, and you're currently, I think, still the Faculty Pro Vice Chancellor for Medicine and Health Sciences at the University of Nottingham.
Yes, so I'm not any longer.
Okay.
Down from
all
that,
right.
And
I think you need to go.
I probably need to change some details online, but yeah, I'm semi-retired now, just doing a bit of consulting. And
okay.
Looking.
Is that with Moderna then?
No, it's across the board really.
Okay. Yeah, and of course, people will recognise you from unfortunately, you were a known person during the pandemic as a spokesman. So that's if you're recognising the fella in the Boston shirt, that's who he is. Is it okay if I call you Jonathan?
Jonathan, yeah, of course it is. Yeah,
Jonathan, fine. So, Boston United fan, you were from Boston. Boston in the UK, and Boston Grammar School lad. So I'll take it you live in the area still.
Yeah, I live in the East Midlands still. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can get to all the home games if I'm free. Put it that way.
Yeah, and yeah. So how long have you been passionate about Boston United from when you were a young un?
I mean, like lots of people, it begins, doesn't it, when your granddad takes you? And for me, that was 54 years ago.
Roughly, right about the same time as for me. My granddad took me to my first game, Carlisle Aston Villa, 1968. Yeah,
Yeah,
that dates me well. So, you can change lots of things in your life, but unfortunately, you can't change your football club.
you
Um,
can't.
once it hits you, once it bites, it's got you for life.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, in that, were you any good at football yourself? Did you
No,
play as a kid?
only at school I was pretty terrible, to be truthful.
Oh
Um,
yeah, a bit
yeah,
similar.
but my lad's just finished with the youth academy. He was an
Oh,
academy at Boston,
excellent,
which, as you can
excellent.
imagine, somebody like me seeing him run out in the FA Youth Cup was, living the dream.
Real, well, absolutely
Yeah,
fantastic, proud moment.
yeah,
My kids never really. I mean, I was no good at football myself, but I mean, unlike yourself, I didn't have my brains. I neither physicality nor brains. My kids, they play sport, but not to that level.
yeah,
Um, so, 54 years. Obviously, most of that was sort of non-league, the Northern Premier League,
yeah.
the early days of the conference and what have you. And then you were, so you spent most of your time watching them at York Street. Do you prefer York Street or your new ground?
I mean,
And what's it like moving? Obviously,
yeah,
if you go there for decades, you get your own spot, your own place, and
yeah. So I mean, York Street was one of those iconic old-fashioned football stadiums, wasn't it?
yeah,
A lot of wood and so forth, and the main stand had that really kind of high position, so you were looking down on the pitch, a bit like somewhere like Rotherham, really.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
it's all nice, and lots of people have lots of kind of nostalgic memories of York Street in the same way that I do. But we've kind of got through the moving bit now, and I think most people have got their own kind of favourite spots, or the spots where they sit season in, season out,
yeah,
at the new ground. And of course, we've just got fabulous facilities,
yeah.
absolutely fabulous corporate facilities that I would argue are kind of League One standard, frankly. And
So,
the owners have
does
just
the
got the money to build the fourth side of the ground. So it's going to be even better
oh,
within a year.
so it's no longer going to be like Oxford or which is a three-sided ground. So do the owners have ambitions to get back into the football league? Some big ambitions there, or because it was a bit of a struggle for you for those sort of five
Yeah,
seasons.
I think the owners, to be honest with you, are focusing on the right things. Since
Yeah,
they came in and inherited a terrible situation, I think they're focusing on community involvement, community participation, financial stability, and
yeah,
creating a legacy that will last for decades into the future. Um, they're just not, I know them well, and they're just not the kind of people who will go after the short-term glory of the highest possible place in the pyramid,
yeah,
and all the expenses spent on the playing budget, leaving everything else neglected behind the scenes and not really capable of self-supporting. They're just not like that. The
are
Maguire.
they local? Are they local then to the Boston area?
Yeah, they're local house builders from the Lincolnshire area. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Because
yeah.
I mean, Carlisle, was it 2 years ago now? 2 years ago now, we were bought over by some American owners from Jacksonville, Florida, and I know we've had successive relegations, which I guess doesn't sound, it's not great, but they might be Americans, but they are building from the bottom up at the club.
They're trying to build those solid foundations to hopefully get us back into League One and maybe club Carlisle size, maybe have the occasional tilt at the Championship. But I think realistically, any sort of dreams of Premier League and what have you, I mean, I think that's for the birds. But you know, we'd like to be higher than where we are.
I think I've never done it, but I think if you probably did a kind of straw poll of Boston United supporters, most people would say the kind of roughly the right spot for a club of our size and our geographical location, which is difficult for players. I think we'd probably say, you know, kind of National League conference is about where we belong. It'd be, of course, you know, I remember going into League Two all those years ago, but you know, as you say, it gets harder and harder the further up you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, in Carlisle, I think we're fairly lucky in that there isn't really another club for 50, 60 miles, and you're talking about Newcastle, but for Boston in Lincolnshire, you know, you go south, you've got Peterborough, you've got Cambridge, and you've got the other three clubs actually in the Football League or in Scunthorpe Park, but you've got some pretty big clubs to compete with in your own area.
If you look at Lincoln,
because when you dropped out of the league, it was pretty brutal, wasn't it? You dropped down a whole division, two divisions basically.
Two divisions. It was a terribly, terribly dark moment. But when David and Neil came in and essentially saved the club, you know, we kind of, in a way, didn't care what league and we ended up in. The big win was that the club survived, which for a long while it looked like it might not. So, you know, everything else has been, you know, always a struggle, but essentially kind of, you know, a happy ending after that difficult moment.
Yeah. I mean, you've had your moments. I mean, I did see that where were you at Wembley? Was it 1985 when you played? Was it Wiltshire?
Yeah.
That must have been a proud moment.
I missed that one because I was a junior doctor at the time, and it was all terribly difficult with the hours that junior doctors were working at that time. But we've absolutely had our moments, and you know, we you know what it's like being a football fan. You dine out on those for years, don't you?
Yeah. We're still dining out on beating Stockport 2.5 years ago to get promoted to League One, and yet Stockport are now challenging for the Championship. We're in the National League, so the great moments they can soon come undone.
Of course, that's right.
But at least they can still keep you warm.
Yeah, I still have, you know, fond memories of that FA Cup replay when Derby County came. I was only a little kid at the time, but I can remember having to sit on the grass the other side of the hoardings because the stadium was so full.
Oh wow!
That was the old York Street. It was absolutely packed. Yeah.
You had a wee bit of a cup run when you were in Football League, didn't you? And you had you drew three clubs beginning with H, wasn't it? It was Hornchurch, Hereford, and Hartlepool in the third round.
Yeah, and of course we've had Rochdale in the cup more recently than that when they were in the league. When I think it was their keeper went on to be the Brighton keeper, their keeper that night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, interestingly, all three keepers in the England squad at the moment, Trafford, Henderson, and Pickford, all played for Carlisle. Two of them started at Carlisle. Pickford was at Carlisle on loan, so we're pretty good. I mean, it must be the rugby background in the county. I think that helps us produce goalkeepers. But of course, you had your moments with was it Paul Gascoigne for a?
Yeah,
he made a few cameos, did he, for the club?
I think he played about 5 games, something like that. Yeah. And you know, Paul, by his own admission, I think would say when he came to us, he was past his best. But you know, he kind of jogged around in the middle of the park, and he could still thread an astonishing pass through. you know, down a channel.
Yeah.
Very few other players on the pitch could see. So there were those kind of flashes of brilliance there, in my view, but it didn't last very long.
No, I think he was at Kettering. Was he at Kettering as well as a manager or something? I think he had a couple of brief spells, but it must have bumped the crowd up somewhat to see Gascoigne in the is it the gold? Is it gold
Yeah, the amber
shirt
and
he
black.
wears?
The amber and black. Yeah.
Yeah, amber and black. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also is Carl Hawley still at your club?
Who?
Carl Hawley. I thought he was in some coaching role at Boston.
Oh, if he is, and apologies, I don't know.
Right, because he played for you. He was he kind of revered at Carlisle. I think he scored a goal about every other game. But I did see that he'd also played for you guys as well.
Yeah, the striker that kind of like lit up my childhood was Jim Cabier.
Yeah,
who was a docker.
A typical sort of number 9, was he?
Yeah, he was. He was absolutely fantastic, and he still turns up to the odd game when he can. He obviously was retired a long while ago, but at one of our upstairs bars is called KB's after him. You know, he was that much.
Right, okay.
That much of a legend.
I'll have a look at that on Saturday.
Yeah.
So, what's kind of the most memorable game you've seen as a Boston fan? Or do you have too many to list?
There's lots to list, and people remind you, and you think, "Oh gosh, yeah, that was great." But if I kind of picked out 2, it would be the away trip to Hayes that saw us get into the Football League.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, that was quite an iconic moment, really.
2002, that wasn't it? 2002. Yeah.
Something like that. And the other one, I think, would be, and that's partly because of kind of the family dynamics and the fact that the boys are older teenagers now, so that would be away at Brackley to get back into the National League.
Okay, so 2 years ago was that? Two years ago. Yeah.
As you know, last year in the National League was a bit of a struggle for us, but it was almost as exciting as a playoff ending to the season, because we suddenly managed to grind out those wins from kind of March onwards that eventually got us to safety.
It was pretty tight last year, wasn't it? I think it went down to the last game of the season, I think, for a couple of the clubs as well, which makes for an exciting time, but not if you're involved.
No, we were right away at Maidenhead, and there was not much to play for, and frankly, the result reflected that.
Yeah, I'm slightly disappointed that Maidenhead went down, because it's the oldest continuously used football ground, I think, in the world. So it would have been nice to have played there, and I've seen it from the outside. It's actually quite convenient for me as well. Unfortunately, no, it'll have to be. Hopefully, we'll never end up down there. We can get out. Do you have any memories of Boston playing Carlisle then? Because we only played you some half a dozen times.
They're not ringing bells. I know you were going to ask me this question, Graham, and to be honest with you, they're not ringing bells.
To be honest, I'm not surprised that you've sort of wiped them from your memory, because I think you conceded 5, 4, and 4. So I think in 3 games you put 13 past you. So, and what was in towards the end of your season that you came back down to the National Conference. So you probably got sensible reasons for having wiped them out. And then, of course, we played you in the Cup about 3 weeks ago. And again, we won 5-2, which that performance was bolstered by, we just signed a guy, Chris Clark, and he from Peterborough, on loan from Peterborough, and he scored 2, and he was.
I get to as many away games as I can, and as many kind of fit around the family. But it's not dozens and dozens a season. The last one was Gateshead, actually, which was
Gateshead.
Yeah, it was a good day out.
Yeah. You have to get up to Carlisle sometime.
It's in March, isn't it, when we come up to you, I think?
Yeah, it is a traditional stadium.
Yeah, the answer to that is not no. The answer to that, I can tell you now, is not no. We might well do that one.
There's always a few Carlisle fans from London because we're the London branch. We've got 400 or 500 members, so we're a pretty active branch. And this we put out on social media and what have you. But there's always a good contingent of Carlisle London branch at the home games. Obviously, more the away games, obviously. And one of the good things about the National League is it's very southern based this season.
Yeah, it's a long way to travel, though. Apparently, if you're Truro and you go to all your home games and your away games, you're going to put 14,000 miles on your car this year.
Wow. Yeah, I think we do. I think we're doing about 11. So it's a hike for Truro ourselves and Gateshead, I guess.
I went to the away game at Truro. Where we got soaking wet, we got thoroughly beaten, and all I can say, it was a long way to go for a Cornish pasty.
Well, we've got them. They're our last away game of the season, and if the season goes as we hope it goes, I think we're all looking forward to. I think there's going to be a lot of Carlisle fans wanting to do that. I think we'll be paying a lot of money for some overnight accommodation.
Yeah,
it's expensive anyway in Cornwall.
Yeah. So remember not to taunt me too much after the weekend. And
I won't. Sorry, I've just got one more thing. The Nun.
Remember that we do well against. We tend to do better against the higher clubs.
Well, we'll to be honest, we had a couple of shocking results against Rochdale and York when Mark Hughes admitted he messed around a little bit with the formation, so we got back to what it is we've been playing well under. But we had a bit of a surprise on Saturday when we were at home to Eastleigh. They equalised with 2 minutes to go, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility that you might get the result that you want. We can still be a little bit shaky. So if you perform better against the better teams, then I think Carlisle do need to be their full mettle to win.
It's all to play for on Saturday, then.
Indeed. Have you got a prediction? Do you care to make a prediction?
No, I'm not going to do that. But I think we'd be well happy with a point.
I think, I'd be happy with a point, but I think most Carlisle fans are going to be greedier and want all three.
Of course you are. Yeah.
It's tight, very tight at the top at the moment.
Just enjoy it at the top while you're there, because it doesn't come around so often for football fans.
It doesn't. Not everyone will
enjoy it whilst it lasts, if it lasts.
Yeah, I think as a Carlisle fan, being relegated to the National League was a disappointment, but a huge disappointment and basically a shock to most Carlisle fans. Following on only 2 years after our success at Wembley in the playoffs. But there is something nice about being top of the table. Doesn't matter what level. So, believe me, it hasn't come around often enough for Carlisle in the last sort of 20 or 30 years. We have been pretty much the Football League cellar dwellers. Is a refreshing change for us as well.
Yeah, great stuff. All right, okay.
Thank you
Maybe.
very much, Jonathan.
Yeah.
If I see, I'll be around on Saturday. If I see you, I'll buy you a
Yeah,
drink.
I think I'll be around as well.
Well, hopefully, well, and may the best team win.
Yes, indeed. All right. See you then,
All
Graham.
right. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you.
I have with me Rob. Rob is a Carlisle United fan, and he's kindly offered to answer questions about Boston. But Bob, you're not from Carlisle. How comes you ended up supporting Carlisle United when you were born in the south?
I was born into it, and
You were born into it.
yeah, as you're my old man, I didn't really have a choice. So
You didn't have a choice. He sounds like an incredibly cruel father.
Yeah,
in a footballing
roped me
sense.
into
Yeah.
random podcasts on a Wednesday evening.
I would never. I would. Yeah. To be honest, I would disown him if I was you. Yeah. Rob's my son, and he decided to step forward and do this. So I've got 5 questions, as I did with Josh, the Boston fan. 5 questions on Carlisle United and 5 questions on Cumberland dialect for Josh. And in reverse, 5 questions for Bob about Boston United and 5 questions about the Lincolnshire dialect. So question number 1, in what year was Boston United formed?
Ooh.
Within 5 years.
1963.
Well, you got 3 of the numbers right, but you were 30 years out. It's 1933. There had been a Boston town that went bust, so they were kind of just a new incarnation of the Boston town. What is question 2? What is the nickname of Boston United?
I knew this without my earlier Google. The Pilgrims.
The Pilgrims, it is indeed. Hold on, you've just given away some research here. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Question number 3. Boston United were promoted to the English football EFL in 2002. How many seasons did they spend in the Football League?
7.
No, it was only 5. Did you see any of those games? About 5-0.
I safely can say I did not go to Boston.
You did not go to Boston.
I did not go to Boston.
Okay. Right, another question. History. I know you're strong on history here. Which historic ship is featured on the club's crest?
The Mayflower.
It is the Mayflower, indeed. And which blues striking legend from 20 years ago, including the last time we were in the National League or the National Conference League, later had some time at Boston United, including a period as caretaker manager about 7 or 8 years ago? Goal scoring legend 20 years ago. Still a legend at the club.
Brian Dean.
You don't get extra points for singing.
Is it Brian Dean?
No, Brian Dean, no. That's a very random answer.
Yeah, I can picture
its first name is half of the club's, the city's name.
I don't know. Put me out of my misery.
Half of Carlisle is Carl.
Carl Hawley?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't have him down as a management type, but okay. Yeah.
No, he was a caretaker manager, so maybe he wasn't a manager's type, but he was certainly there coaching. And when they sacked, I think they had Steve Evans as the manager. Although that might have been a few. I think that was when they were in football leagues. Who were clearly never very prudent at sort of appointing managers. So you've got Struggled to get some of the way there. I think he got three and a bit. So have you ever been to Lincolnshire?
I have been to Lincolnshire. I have not been to
Right,
Boston.
okay, so you're going to be really clued up on Lincolnshire dialect.
Well,
right, we'll try with the first one. Tates, Tates, Tates.
No clue. Pass.
Tates. Have you got the? Can you put the Tates on the in the water? The Tates in the water on the oven on the hob. Tates. Potatoes. You've got it. Second one, spud.
Another variation of potato.
No. It's a small implement used to cut thistles.
Okay.
So they're clearly. I think they're called yellow bellies when you live in Lincolnshire. They clearly live in their own world, where they probably still point at aeroplanes and can lick their own ears. But I don't want to offend any Lincolnshire people, because all the ones I've spoken to have been really good.
Yeah.
Frit. If somebody's frit. Or Maggie Thatcher made this word famous or infamous, depending upon your political point of view, in the 80s.
Hard working.
Frit, no. Frit is if you're frightened.
Okay, yeah.
Grufty.
Non-school uniform day.
Yeah, well, kind of. I mean, if you took Winnie out for a walk and she went in all the puddles, she'd come back looking grufty.
Muddy,
dirty. Yeah, I'll give you that one. Give you that one.
Yeah.
This is kind of a general East Midlands. Well, I'm just guessing the name of your dog, because, of course, we've never met before.
Yeah.
And the final one is duck, and it's a fairly general East Midlands type phrase, Nottingham and up to Lincolnshire. Hey up me duck.
Well, like pet, loved one, an affectionate term. Yeah.
It's kind of a. So I think on that one you got, with some help, I think you got a couple of them. If it's any consolation, Josh, the Boston fan, I think he was as bad as you were with Cumbrian dialects. So
minimum consolation.
We don't all speak the same. Okay, thanks for that. Do you have? We're at Boston on Saturday. Do you have any predictions as to what the score is going to be, and what's your feelings about how Carlisle are doing this season?
It's not going to be popular. I've been burnt too often. I think 2-2 on Saturday, and playoff heartbreak this season.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Gonna have to disprove you that. But no, anyway, thanks very much, Bob.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for your time. And there's no prize, but
well, that was missold.
You might not even have won. I need to do accounts anyway.
Yeah.
But hey, son, thank you very much for stepping into the breach.
From the start, those days they were filled with wonder. Come along, and then you stole my heart. Don't know why I get this feeling, and I always get it with you. Never ever gonna stop believing, 'cause I'm dreaming blue. pretend.